All right, guys, I'm going to run through some hypothetical Cavs trades that I think could at least shake up the roster.
Okay.
We did Donovan Mitchell trades last week, so these are non-Donovan Mitchell trades. But speaking of Donovan Mitchell, before we dive into the trade scenarios, he posted on Instagram an entire post yesterday with the caption, quote, "Back soon, a picture of the Cavs starting five from the playoffs." So before we dive into these trades,
I don't like that.
Thoughts on Donovan posting this Instagram last night with
I don't
the
like
caption,
it.
"Back soon"?
I said this before. I'm going to say it again, and I'm standing by it. If they run the team back, I'm not watching in the regular season.
You said that last year.
You said it every year, dude.
It's a dereliction of duty on my part, but I'm doing it. No, I said it. I didn't say it last year.
Yes,
Last
you
year I
did.
did not say it.
I'm almost positive you said that.
It was 2 years ago, I think, that I said it.
No,
because last year they had Kenny Atkinson. It was his new coach.
no, that was 2 years ago.
Whatever. There was one other year I said it. I agree.
Yes, it was after last year.
It was last year.
Why wouldn't you watch next year?
Coming off the loss
What
to
is
Indiana.
the point of the regular season?
That's what you said last year.
Well, I mean,
The regular season in the NBA
these guys
has zero value.
the guys that we ran out in the playoffs
Yeah.
played together for all of 90 minutes.
So
before,
what?
Before
They can't win with this current team. You know that.
Dude, I would argue that if they win Game 1 in the Knicks series, that series easily could have gone our way.
I think you're in La La Land.
Okay, you don't think that 22-point devastating comeback, the way that they lost that game, that they lost a series in one game?
I think they were done when they lost that game. I think they still would have lost if they had.
Probably in 6 instead of 4.
Yeah.
Something like that.
All right, well, even if they do lose the series,
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
You still wouldn't have been like, this team has a chance to bring it back next year if they
had played
get an
a good-
off season together.
If they had played a great series and lost to the Knicks, maybe I would have felt differently. I'm completely convinced they cannot win a championship with Donovan Mitchell as their best player. I don't think they can win.
I don't disagree with that necessarily. I wrote that last year.
Yeah.
Look, guys, I would love for them to make some moves, and I'd love to have Giannis and LeBron and have the super team.
Yeah.
I would love it.
But you're going to be locked in either
the
way.
The fan in me would love that, but again,
You're more of a diehard fan than Jason and I are.
That's fine, but I also really had a lot of fun with this team this year in the playoffs. I did. Not gonna lie.
Before we get to Mike's,
Right, but that's not the regular season. I didn't say I wasn't going to watch the play. I mean, obviously, I'm going to watch the
No,
regular
but the
season.
regular season, I think, is going to help these guys develop the chemistry necessary for a playoff run.
I just think before we get to Mike's trade scenarios, we were talking about this yesterday, and I was very hesitant. Said, I don't think you guys should think of this through, this Mobley for Giannis thing, when it's more than likely only 1 year. It's easy for us to sit here and say, well, just do it and try and win a championship. And if you don't, then I'm going to tune out for the next 3 or 4 years and not bother with the Cavs. When you are living that in that building, it's so much harder to do that because I've talked to the people who, when LeBron left the first time, it was, and I'm not comparing if Giannis were to leave, but I'm just saying they lost a superstar. It was devastation. Like the sales department.
Team morale
So
down.
they'd rather be mediocre or,
they're better than mediocre.
Do you rather be a good team that can't
So
win
this goes
and
back,
go for it?
But see, this goes back to the baseball argument. Who was the Jerry DiPoto?
Yeah.
Said, make the playoffs and give yourself a chance every year.
Right.
And that's what the Cavs have been doing.
But you can't. Baseball and basketball don't work the same way.
They're catching up.
It's catching up a little bit, but still.
The gap is closing. And I want to be careful because I'm not necessarily – I'm curious to get to Mike's trades because I'm not advocating totally running this back. Yeah. But I keep telling you guys, if Donovan wants Evan Mobley here, they are not going to trade
but Donovan
Evan.
also wants to win a championship. Isn't that his first priority?
That's what he says.
Do you think that Instagram post means they're not making a significant deal? I don't believe that.
I found it curious.
Yeah.
It was curious timing.
Yeah, that's a post you make after you get off a phone call with the GM.
But when you are in that building and living that life, when you have to start over and you have no draft picks to do it, it's devastating. And you could say like go all in and try and win a championship. If you're competing at this level, right? Like they're at a pretty high level right now. They just made the conference finals. Can we agree they're all playing at a pretty high level?
They haven't won a conference final game once with this team.
They haven't, but they made a conference finals.
Okay.
So they are playing at a pretty high level. And they already took one piece off that of their run with Garland, and I thought it was the right move to make. But if you dismantle this whole thing and you go all in on one year when the league has changed with the draft and everything
else. Maybe it's 1 year,
else,
Jason. Maybe they convince him to stay.
Maybe they do. That's an enormous gamble to take on 1 year.
I think it's worth it.
When you don't have any way to start over on the other side.
Okay, then find another player.
And that's what I said yesterday.
All right, I'm open-minded to that. Let's see what Mike's come up.
So we already did Donovan. None of these are Donovan deals.
Okay.
Only one involves Evan Mobley. The others are ways to change up the roster without completely pulling the plug.
I would be more amenable to that.
Okay, but you're not getting any of those trades. Do you get an all-star caliber player?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not all of them.
How are you going to get an all-star caliber player trading Jared Allen?
Well, let's find out. He's trying to tell you.
All right. Sorry,
I got 8 of these. Some of these bigger than others.
Shut up, you derelict.
Let's start with this one. If you were Kobe Altman and the Mavericks offered you P.J. Washington and Caleb Martin for Max Strus and his expiring contract and Dennis Schroeder.
Why would the Mavericks do that?
To get off PJ's contract, they need a point guard and they need shooting. Schroeder obviously provides ball handling alongside Cooper Flagg. They desperately need shooting in Max Strus, and they have a plethora of guys that play the same position as P.J. Washington.
Isn't P.J. Washington like a really great rebounder, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, he's 6'8", big physical wing, can play small ball 5.
I don't know. You guys know these players better than I do. I know the names. It sounds like a good trade.
Jason knows more about the nondescript guys.
I like that more than I like that Isaiah Stewart nonsense from a couple weeks ago.
No.
I would do this one.
That was involving Don. I mean,
Mike, you like this move?
That was Strus for beef.
That was just Strus for Stewart straight up.
You like this move, Mikey?
Who's the best player in this trade?
When Washington's been healthy, I think he's the best player. He's also a 6'8", 6'9".
What's Washington's contract? What's his contract?
His extension kicks in next year, and it's not terrible, but you'd be taking on money as opposed to getting off money in Strus. But also, Schroeder's contract's not good, so you're getting off that contract.
Yeah.
And Martin's an expiring.
Losing Schroeder's not a big deal.
I mean, I don't care about who they're losing that much.
Can we find a more of a scoring type of a Dean Wade type of guy?
That is P.J. Washington.
Okay.
Right there.
I mean, P.J. Washington's a better version of Dean Wade, isn't he?
Okay, then that's fine. That's good.
What does he average a game?
More than 3.
That's what P.J. Washington this season averaged 14.5 points a game, 7 rebounds, shot 45% from the floor. He's listed at 6'8", 230.
What's he from 3?
From 3 this year, he's 32%. He shot as high as 38% last year. Career 35% three-point shooter on 5 attempts per game. He's a legitimate stretch forward or a big 3.
That is more realistic to me than some of the Evan Mobley stuff.
Yes, and I would make this deal, but I still don't think the Cavs can win a championship.
I don't think any of these deals are changing their championship ceiling, for the record.
So I'll just take that out of my mind.
These are other deals.
I like this trade. I like this trade.
Think of this as these deals change the complexion of the Cavs if it doesn't raise their ceiling. So this is in the mindset they're not getting a player in any of these deals better than Donovan, unless you think one player is, and we'll get to that one in a second.
How old is P.J. Washington? Not old, is he?
He's 27 years old.
All right, that's
Turns
fine.
28 next month. I would do it. I'm a big PJ fan, and the Cavs have been connected to PJ and rumored to
I just don't understand why the Dallas would do that, but you say
because they have a bunch of 4-5s. They need shooting and ball handling.
Couldn't they get better players than Schroeder and Strus, though? No?
Strus is better than you're giving him credit for.
I guess I undervalue
and Schroeder's
him.
a ball handler.
Strus bailed them out. We said it all when he was out. They desperately missed him when he was out.
Me. Unless your name is Larry Bird, I'm pretty much out on the White guys.
Fair enough.
Go ahead.
All right, next one. This is a 3-team trade.
Yeah.
In this particular trade, the Cavs would get Miles Turner and his contract from Milwaukee. They would send Jared Allen to the Lakers.
And
the Bucks would get Sam Merrill, Dalton Knecht, Jake LaRavia, Jared Vanderbilt, and a bunch of future picks to help facilitate the whole thing. But basically, you're swapping out Jared Allen for an aging Miles Turner.
And Sam Merrill.
Yeah, Allen and Merrill, excuse me.
That's a no-brainer, isn't it? Turner. I like that trade.
I don't know why the Bucks do that.
If they're going full rebuild, they trade Giannis, they're trying to get picks.
Yeah, but you can. I don't know. I think you can do better than that. I guess it depends what the future picks are. Jared to the Lakers, yeah, but Knecht, yeah. I don't know. I mean, from the Cavs.
For Cavs, yeah. Miles Turner's a good player.
Yeah, I don't know what the other teams would be.
Isn't Miles Turner a pretty good three-point shooter?
He is a very good shooter.
He's a good three-point shooter, yes.
Yeah. That trade, I feel like, raises their ceiling a little bit.
Okay. I think Turner's a good fit with Mobley, too, personally.
I think he's a better fit than Allen and Mobley are, yes.
I agree.
Because he could shoot.
Yes.
He's not a great rebounder. It's the one knock on him.
Yeah.
He only averaged 5.3 rebounds for his career. He's a 7-footer who averages 6 rebounds a game.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you made those first 2 trades together, if you traded Jared Allen, Sam Merrill, Max Strus, and what's his name?
P.J. Washington? Schroeder,
and got Miles Turner and P.J. Washington? I like that.
Change it. All right,
and then that's your starting lineup, right? You got Turner, Washington, Donovan, Harden, and Mobley as your starting lineup. Right?
Probably, yeah. And you'd be huge, basically.
And then what's your bench? You have Tyson?
I still think Tyson would start at the 3 in that situation.
Okay, so he starts at 3 because you got Washington coming
P.J.
off
Washington
the bench.
right off the bench.
You got, what's his name, the young point guard?
Tyrese Proctor's your backup point guard. Yeah. All right, let's get to the next one. This one may bring in a player better than Donovan. But would you want to get in the Kawhi business? Allen, Schroeder, Merrill, this year's first-round pick, and a future first-round pick to take on Kawhi Leonard.
Why not?
Kawhi, James, Donovan, and Mobley would be your...
I mean, it probably won't work, but why not? I mean, if
it probably won't work, but why not?
Because it's not like in this case, in the Giannis, obviously Giannis is better than Kawhi. But in the Giannis situation, I at least see your argument where you're like, but if it doesn't work, you traded Evan Mobley. In this case, all you traded was Jared Allen.
Kawhi is entering the last year of his deal, by the way. So this would be another situation where it'd be
but you're not giving up Mobley.
You're not giving up Mobley.
No, I'm just giving
I would do it because how many games did Kawhi play last year?
He played a good bit. He was actually good last year.
He was good. I watched the Clippers play a ton.
Did he got hurt in the playoffs, right? Or no?
No. Kawhi played 65 games last year.
What did he do in the playoffs? What were his numbers in the playoffs?
He played 1 game in the playoffs.
Why did he only play 1 game?
Because they lost the playing game.
Oh.
Yeah,
so, how good is Kawhi at this point? If he's healthy, how good is he?
He's really good. He averaged 28 points per game, really 6 rebounds, 3 assists.
So why wouldn't you do this?
I would do it.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Gets you thinking, doesn't it, Jason?
Why are the Clippers doing this?
That's what I'm trying to wrap my head around.
I mean, that first-round pick is going to be probably not a great pick.
They traded Zubac, so you get your center. They're just a step basically.
But if they stink, what do they need a center for? Like, they're not a playoff team.
Well, if they stink, wouldn't you want to turn Kawhi into?
Kawhi's a rental, dude.
Yeah.
So
but couldn't they get something better than that or no?
How many teams are in a position to take on 1 year Kawhi?
No, you're right. It's probably not.
And maybe they could, but I'm not thinking of other teams. I'm just thinking, why would they do it?
I think you have to. I don't think Kawhi will catch the fallout of the aspiration stuff, but I think you need to know that before.
Yeah, that's how you got paid.
The CBA circumvention stuff.
Yeah, how
I don't know anything about
Ballmer was paying him.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, dude, you know that.
What are you talking about?
The tree planting company and the kickbacks to Kawhi.
Yeah.
They paid him under the table.
I remember that. I didn't pay any attention to this.
Well, you're going to be hearing about it.
You're
going to be hearing about it again very soon. I think that investigation's wrapping up.
Yeah.
But is he going to get suspended?
I think the Clippers could face punishment.
Oh.
I don't know about Kawhi.
Okay. All right. I don't care about that.
I like that one.
That's really interesting.
That one.
What about those guys all playing together?
I mean, Kawhi and Harden have already played together.
Yeah. And how'd that go?
Well, how's their relationship?
I mean,
they were good. They're good.
They were playing better. The Clippers were playing better this year when they made the trade.
Yeah.
They got off to a terrible start. And they were playing better. And now you're adding Donovan and Mobley to that. It's fascinating. It's fascinating.
I mean,
I got Jason thinking. Jason actually likes that one.
That's a way to get a potential star without trading a great player.
You have to sell me on why the Clippers would do that, why they would have interest in Jared Allen if they're going into a rebuild.
Well, I think more just get off Kawhi.
And you get a couple of picks.
And you have to match salaries.
And then flip Allen maybe for something different.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. They have the fifth pick in this year's draft from Indiana. So they're in a weird situation. They want to have a ton of cap space open moving forward, which Kawhi getting off the books would help them. But if you're not winning,
I'm all
Kawhi,
in on that deal. You got you're maybe in, Dustin. You're all in on that, or no?
Yeah, I'm in.
Right?
I'm all in.
Let's go. Bring Kawhi.
It would be 31, right? It would be 26 and 31. 31 would be the picks.
Yeah, I just had a future. It's easier to.
And then if he you probably walked after the year.
Still have Mobley
whatever. You didn't trade Mobley.
Then you got to deal with Uncle Dennis. That's what got them into this mess in the first place.
Uncle Dennis.
And there's a lot there. I'm not saying that's
like
why.
Kawhi only wants to plays when he wants to play.
I'm not saying that you don't do it because of him, but I'm saying
for 1 year you put up with Uncle Dennis.
There's a lot there.
Put up with Uncle Dennis for
the last time a team traded for Kawhi on the last year of his deal,
they won a championship.
The
Raptors.
And then he left. So
what's Fred VanVleet doing right now?
He's in Houston.
Ask Toronto how they feel about it. They're very happy they got him.
They won.
All right, that was 3. Next one. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Money matches up perfectly. Jared Allen for Dillon Brooks. You get your
he's
tough guy, enforcer on the wing. This probably ensures LeBron would not come to Cleveland because him and Dillon do not see eye to eye in the least bit. But the Suns need a center. They have a bunch of wings, and the Cavs need more playmaking, more wing perimeter defenders, and a guy that brings a little toughness and attitude.
Wouldn't LeBron like him if he were on his team?
Dillon Brooks brought a courtside seat to Game 4 to watch LeBron get eliminated and just laughed at him the entire time. It was one of the all-time
You gotta respect that.
I respect it.
It's an all-time troll move.
You gotta respect a guy not
do.
afraid to troll LeBron.
I mean, yeah, okay, great, but LeBron's still in the playoffs, and you have to buy a seat to get there.
I hear you, but
so
that's high-level trolling.
But it's funny.
I will say this about Dillon Brooks. The guy has earned my respect throughout the years because I thought he was just kind of just a pest and played, tough, scrappy basketball, kind of a fake tough guy. But dude's been a baller. He's been doing it
for awesome.
Year after year. And he can score, guys. He's a legitimate scorer.
He averaged 20 points per game this season.
So why would the Suns do that?
Once again, plethora of a position on their side versus a need.
They can't, but couldn't they get more for him than Jared Allen?
I think, once again, now you're underestimating Jared Allen's value.
That's fair. I'm just quizzing you, Mike.
Hey, listen,
I like these trades. You're making interesting
Game
trades.
7, Jared Allen's got some value. 2 games. He played in back-to-back Game 7.
Also, the head coach of the Suns was the Cavs' top assistant last year, Jordan Ott, who had a really good relationship with both the Cavs bigs, Mobley and Allen. Mobley's way too much for Dillon Brooks in the 1-for-1, but the money works perfectly. The issue on this one is Dan Gilbert and Matt Ishbia, the 2 owners of the teams, hate each other.
That's true. Would that stop a trade?
I mean, Dan once traded LeBron after the 2010. After the letter.
Yeah, he still traded him.
He still traded LeBron.
Right, but he had no choice, really, because LeBron was going to leave.
But he could have. LeBron made more money because Dan traded him.
Yeah.
LeBron would have had to take less to go as a free agent. So it was a win-win. So ultimately, I think and especially Dan now is far different than he was 16 years ago.
Yeah.
From Dan, I don't know about Matt's end of it. From Dan's end, I think they could.
He would do it.
But hate is not strong enough of a word to describe the relationship between those two.
I like when billionaires hate each other.
It is nasty.
Yeah.
It's personal.
Like
it's personal among the families, and it's nasty.
Yeah. So Montagues and the Capulets. All right.
We got 3 more.
Yeah.
Next one. If the Pelicans called and offered you Herb Jones, Yves, Messi, and Sadiq Bey for Allen and a future first, would you do it?
I don't know anything about
I don't know
those
enough
guys.
about those dudes, man, to be honest with you. Pelicans are off my radar.
Herb Jones is a 6'8", long, lanky,
veteran guy,
defensive
right?
wing. He's the kind of guy, I don't think I would do this one for the record. I would not. But Herb Jones is the guy who I think gets lost because he's on a bad team in New Orleans, and on a good team would be a guy that everyone looks around and say, oh, he's way better than we gave him credit for.
Yeah.
He fits into a championship caliber roster, can play in the playoffs.
Has he always been on the Pelicans?
Yeah.
So he must be dying to get out of there.
This is the 3rd summer in a row I've mentioned trading for Herb Jones, and it's always in some sort of Jared combination because they still need a center. They still have too many wings. The Cavs are desperately in need of wings with size. I like Herb Jones a lot. I think he'd be better in a better situation.
All right.
I'm not sure I'd do this.
How about the other 2 guys? I don't really know them.
Messi's a young center, but he got passed up by Derek Queen, who was the Pelicans' first-round pick last year. Sadiq Bey, just for money purposes, you need money to even it out. Another wing, nothing special.
Okay.
All right, Sadiq Bey did average 17 points last year. Bad team, though. Someone had to score. One of those situations. All right, Steve, let's go to the next one. How about a 3-team deal?
Another 3-team.
Cavs get Lou Dort.
Lou Dort.
The Nets get Max Strus and Naquan Tomlin, and the Thunder get a bunch of future second-round picks.
Why are they trading Lou Dort for a bunch of second-round picks?
Money. They are way over the second apron. They have to shed salary. Lou Dort's due to make $18 million a year on a player option. He can opt in. He could either do what Harden's going to do, which is opt out, sign a long-term deal. But the Thunder are in cap hell right now. Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams are having their max extensions kick in this summer on top of SGA's max extension with all the other players. They're going to have to get rid of somebody this year, whether it's Lou Dort, whether it's Kason Wallace, whether it's like 7 of their role guys. They need to shed money. They cannot go into next season at their current cap
They can't get better than the second round picks for Lou Dort?
I'm still can't get over the fact that a guy like Lou Dort makes $18 million. I mean, that NBA money is so.
Oh, Lou Dort's not that good. I thought he was.
No, he's a really good player, but like I think about NFL money towards like NBA,
Yeah.
like $18 million in the NFL would get you like a legitimate starter.
Yeah. Well, in some
I
positions,
do think Lou Dort's a legit starter.
at running back, you don't. The best
That's a
player
right
doesn't get
tackle.
paid that much.
18 million is a right tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Saquon Barkley doesn't make
$18 million is elite pay for most positions in the NFL.
That's what I'm saying.
Outside of left tackle, wide receiver, pass rusher, and quarterback. Maybe corner, you get more than that.
insane, but good for him. I like Lou Dort.
All right,
you do it,
you're giving up only Max Strus anyway, so I'd do Lou Dort.
I would
just
do
like
that
saying
one
the name Lou Dort, so that would
Scrappy.
It also gets
Scrappy
Lou
player.
Dort on your side, which means Donovan
shooter.
doesn't have to go up against Lou Dort.
That's true. Lou Dort kills him.
The torture chamber. You
The
could put some
torture
other guys in
chamber.
the torture chamber. What'd you say?
No, I was repeating.
How big
it.
is Lou Dort?
He's 6'4", but he's built like a linebacker.
Oh,
He
yeah,
could
dude.
take the Dean Wade role, even though he's not tall, right?
Yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's better than Dean Wade
He's
at everything, right?
Smaller Dean Wade, but he
6 inches shorter.
not a rebounder, but yeah.
Besides rebounding, does Dean Wade do anything better than Lou Dort?
The difference is Dean Wade could be your backup big. Dean Wade should be a backup power forward. He should not be your starting small forward. He's
Yeah.
been miscast in Cleveland because they have no
He
one
should be
else.
playing 8 minutes a game.
More than 8 minutes, but he plays a role that he's not suited to play.
Yeah.
He'd be great as your 8th, 9th guy, as your third big. The
On a
issue
crappy
is he's
team.
starting 3. No, on a good team.
Dude, he's
wrong with
garbage. He can't be playing in the playoffs. He's garbage. He's scared
he-
to
if
shoot the
he's
ball.
Just because he doesn't score doesn't mean he's garbage. You're only looking at his points.
You have to score.
This guy's a scrub.
What else? He plays decent. He plays pretty good defense. He does nothing else.
He's very good defensively. He can rebound.
Rebound. What do he average in rebounds in the playoffs?
I don't have that open right now, but I can pull it up for you right
Come
now.
on, I'm not
getting
saying
like at
he's
least
Shaq
5
on the
rebounds a game.
boards, but
He is
he's a liability at
he
scoring.
shrivels
yes.
in
He
the
averaged
playoffs.
four rebounds a game.
In the playoffs?
22 in 22 minutes, yeah.
Not impressed. That's fine. That's adequate.
Yeah, but his plus minus is always good because he's typically on the team's best player.
You know,
How was his plus minus against the Knicks?
everybody's was pretty
Everyone's
bad.
is pretty bad, dude.
All right. Besides the
plus
point, we're not
minus.
getting on. Lou Dort would be an upgrade at that one spot.
Why do the Nets do that? Why are the Nets interested in that?
Maybe like Tomlin and Strus an expiring contract.
What are they giving up? Just
They don't need to get off money though.
No, I just need a team to grease the wheels here. Jason. All right. I'm thinking more for the Cavs than the other ones.
yeah.
All right, next one.
All right, those were done nice. Oh, you just got one more.
I got 2 more.
Oh, 2 more. You did a nice job here, Mike.
Evan Mobley
These
for
are nice.
Anthony Davis and 2 future first-round picks.
No.
With the agreement that Anthony Davis and LeBron are boys, and this helps grease the wheels for LeBron to come home too. So your
All
starting
right, twist
lineup
my
next
arm.
year: James,
LeBron-
Donovan,
LeBron ain't coming here for Anthony Davis.
Mobley,
No.
and Jared.
LeBron
Allen.
doesn't care about Anthony Davis.
LeBron-
LeBron only cares about LeBron.
LeBron ain't coming here for AD. I would not do that.
No, I would not do that.
And then the last one. This one's not sexy. This is just a 1-for-1. Cavs need wings. Rockets need ball
How
handlers.
do you end on this one?
Dennis Schroeder versus Dorian. Because I didn't like 7. I wanted
I
an
mean,
even number.
anticlimactic. So put it in the middle where it's.
I
Yeah,
thought for sure
whatever,
there'd be
whatever.
a LeBron
It's
one
a
in
wet
there.
blanket right here.
Yeah, I mean, to end on this garbage trade, like, who cares?
Mikey,
I'll
you
just throw
did
one
a
off
hell
the
of a
top of
job
my
with this, and Bull wants to crap all over it.
You did great, and then you
just didn't like the
you
end.
fumbled on the 1 yard line.
But you don't get. Not everyone listens to a full clip. They get the first. So I put the sexy ones up first. If you make it to the very end, you've seen them all. Of these, which is your favorite? Then we'll wrap up.
Can you put them all on the screen real quick?
I don't need to see him. The Kawhi.
Kawhi Leonard. Come
You
on,
want to see them all, Bull?
Go ahead.
Bull,
Can I see them
Go
all,
through
please, real quick?
You don't remember?
3 seconds. 3 seconds for each one.
This was Washington and Caleb Martin for Schroeder
Okay.
and Strus.
Next, you don't even have to say them. Miles Turner. Okay. Kawhi Leonard. Dylan Brooks.
I think that's the most realistic one, by the way.
The Brooks one, yeah.
I think
Next.
that has the highest likelihood of
Yeah.
actually happening.
forget the rest. I like all of the first four. Okay. I'm in favor of all of them. I would take to me, the Kawhi Leonard one would be my first choice. The Dillon Brooks one would be my second choice. And third would be what was the one in between those two?
PJ Washington.
No. The one in between Dillon Brooks and Kawhi. There was another one.
Miles Turner.
That would be my third one.
Jason, Kawhi, you in? Did I talk you into a Kawhi sign?
I never commit to these, but I am most interested, I think, in that one. That one piqued my interest a little.
Those first four trades make the Cavs better without trading any of their top three players.
Jason and I are gonna. We may have some ways to make the Kawhi thing happen. We're gonna pull some strings here.
All right, let's see what we can do.
We do?